Google Cloud Platform is in third place behind AWS and Microsoft. How would I fix that? Were I working at Google? Let's talk about it. So welcome to the Cloud Community Insider. If you're new, my name is Dave, a cloud and AI SME, best-selling author, speaker, tech influencer, and experienced technology executive. Let's get going. So Google Cloud Platform remains in third place among major cloud providers despite strong financial results due to its late market entry, weaker enterprise trust, and less mature ecosystem compared to Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. So first is, I don't actively monitor Google. I don't go to briefings. I'm not invited to Google Next, so that's okay. I'm invited to the other cloud providers' conferences, and I always go there and learn about their stuff, but I'm less informed around Google. Now, I do use their technology on projects, and I have at Deloitte and have in the recent times in my current consulting practice. And so I do understand how their technology is used in the context of enterprise problems and when it should be applied and when it shouldn't be applied. So that's typically where I form my opinions, which are pretty good. In other words, I'm looking at the usage of the technology for the enterprises and not at the messages that are given to me via the PowerPoint presentations during analyst briefings and influencer briefings. So if I ran Google, what would I do to pull ahead of Microsoft and maybe even AWS? And I think there's opportunities that Google has in the marketplace over the next few years that they're going to be able to take advantage of. And I think they're showing some strength in the marketplace, but obviously they're growing at about the same rate, if a little bit more in some instances than AWS and Microsoft, but not at a rate where they can pull ahead of those larger providers. And I think they're leaving money on the table. I think with a few innovative changes in their strategy, they can pull ahead in the marketplace. And let me tell you what my 3 things are that I would recommend to them. So the first thing I would recommend is to prioritize seamless hybrid and multi-cloud integration. And this is the biggest piece of advice that I have for them. I believe Google Cloud Platform must enhance tools like Anthos to seamlessly connect to on-premises systems and rival clouds such as AWS and Azure, ensuring enterprises avoid vendor lock-in. And ultimately, they're going to trust GCP more for their complex IT needs. This has been an ongoing theme in my research and my writings for the last 4 years. And I think Google has done a really good job in providing a heterogeneous, friendly infrastructure that supports multi-cloud deployments, and certainly in the technology such as Anthos that they've released. However, they need to hit the accelerator on it because I think the other 2 cloud providers are kind of weak in those aspects. They don't do a very good job in integrating with the other cloud providers or even some of the on-prem environments or even some of the sovereign clouds and managed service providers, things like that, as they should. Now, I understand some stuff is there, and certainly AWS at reInvent announced some multi-cloud capabilities and provided connectivity to other clouds, and I think that's a step in the right direction for AWS. But I think Google can end up owning this space. And the reason is people are moving to AI. They're preferring heterogeneous infrastructures, multi-cloud infrastructures for those deployments because the AI infrastructure is so expensive that it's almost never going to be a pure single public cloud brand deployment. It's going to be a multitude of technologies and brands that are going to be leveraged for these solutions. And that's where their growth is going to occur for the next 4 to 5, 6 years. And I think that if Google focused on that as their primary area of expertise and providing technologies to provide deeper integration to all these various technologies, whether it's on-prem or the competing cloud providers, big and small, they're going to have something that'll be a differentiator in the market that the other 2 providers don't have. And I think while they've seen this as a strategic advantage over the last 4 years, they really need to step up and take it to the 3rd and 4th degree in providing innovative technologies in this space to provide integration with other technologies that enterprises are using, because the future of this technology is not going to be a single cloud provider and not a single cloud brand. It's going to be a multitude of technologies that people are going to mix and match to form the best of breed optimized solution for their business. So next would be elevate developer experience to drive adoption. And so my strategy for GCP would include simplifying APIs, expanding free tier access, and forging partnerships to grow its ecosystem and making it a top choice for developers and startups over the competitors. Now, obviously, Google would claim that they've always been very good at this in attracting the startups and attracting developers. AWS claims the same thing, and so does Microsoft. But it's really hitting the accelerator again on this stuff, where you're getting serious about adopting developers that are going to build these major solutions and these startup solutions on your platform. And I see them working with AWS and I see them working with Microsoft, not so much with Google. And it doesn't mean that Google's not facilitating them, but they're not getting these relationships and getting these numbers of developers. And so as people move to AI and move to different solutions, code becomes commoditized because we can generate it via Claude and other AI systems. The ability to attract an environment that's going to be the ecosystem where this innovation occurs is going to be very important. In many cases, that's going to mean giving away free tiers a bit more aggressively than you do now. And the ability to partner with multiple startups and your ability to invest in these startups to attract them to leveraging your cloud as their single point of innovation for whatever they're looking to build. Now, it sounds, okay, gee, Dave, that's not very difficult to figure out. But it's not happening. And I think the other cloud providers are not doing it as well as they think they're doing it. And I think that would be Google's opening to get additional revenue and get additional market share, perhaps even blasting past Microsoft and blasting past AWS, maybe in the 3-4 year time frame. So, and next is probably, also a bit obvious, but people aren't carrying it out now. And that's lead industry specific AI powered solutions. And obviously, all the cloud providers, including Google, Microsoft, and AWS, have been bragging about how they have industry-specific services. And a few years ago, we were talking about industry clouds, and there was some work being done in those areas. But obviously, the industry-specific stuff is going to be focused on the utilization of AI and LLMs that are particularly geared to and tuned for particular industries, healthcare, retail, finance, things like that. And your ability to dig deep in that area and provide some key research where all of these processes, all of this agentic technology, all of these current business workflows and metadata management and ontologies, things like that for particular industries will come directly out of your cloud. And you think about that, we've been bragging about that being kind of the next destination for cloud computing for the last 10 years, but no one's pulled it off. And I've never seen any industry-specific capabilities that are compelling for the enterprises out there that are looking at this technology. And as I go from project to project, this is always going to be something that we look at. In other words, is there technology that's in a particular cloud provider that's going to get us further down the road? We're able to avoid building a lot of this stuff from scratch, including building our own models and tuning our own models and all the stuff we have to do in building these AI systems. And just using general purpose foundational models, frontier models, as they call them, is not necessarily going to be the answer for that, because those are really kind of trained on every piece of information. They're trying to be good at everything. I'm talking about models that are pointing at a specific industry that are very good at that industry stuff, able to carry out and support the knowledge, support the processes, support the compliance, support, all these things the industry has to do without reinventing the wheel. And right now, they're just throwing LLMs at these things and hoping for the best, or building small language models to do tactical deployments. If we're trying to find strategic value in this technology, there has to be some innovation occurring in industry-specific AI space. And while there's some, there's not enough. And I think if Google hit the accelerator on that via the resources that they have, they could take their cloud to the next level, be the preferred platform based on the fact that they're going to provide the best value for the business, because they're going to get them further down the road in solving their problems than the other providers. Well, anyway, you're welcome, Google. So let me know if you have some comments about this, and let me know if you agree or disagree with the advice I'm giving to Google. And if you work for Google, let me know if it's something you guys may be working on now that I'm not aware of, or it's, this is something that you would like to be working on very soon. Love to hear it. So don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos on this channel. Also check out my InfoWorld Cloud Computing blog, my 100+ LinkedIn learning courses, and of course my generative AI architecture course out on GoCloudCareers. And finally, my latest books, Unlocking the Power of Cloud and An Insider's Guide to Cloud Computing. So until next week, stay very, very safe. The magical YouTube algorithm thinks this is another one of my videos that you should watch next. Take care, guys.